Welcome to the TOCA Backstage podcast. Join TOCA's Executive Director, Chris Wolf, in conversations with the artists and people behind the scenes of the Torrance Cultural Arts Foundation's performances and events.
Hi, this is Chris Wolf with another edition of TOCA Backstage. It's my great honor to have Amanda Castro from the Amanda Castro Band, who will be in Studio Cabaret performance on January 16th and 17th at the Nakano Theater. Amanda, thank you so much for joining me. I certainly do appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
So I'm curious, there's a couple of things I'm curious about. First of all, is how would you describe your music? Because I kind of went through down a YouTube rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and there's it seems like big band, swing, jazz, and some contemporaries with a little twist, almost postmodern jukebox-ish. How would you describe your music?
Yeah, I would say you're right on track. Definitely a swing, I call it sort of a jazz pop kind of vibe, with a little bit of a Latin twist because we do a lot of little Latin spins. It's a very eclectic sounding band just because I've always had such an interest in all types of music. So I've kind of just meshed them all into, I guess, the Amanda Castro genre. That's what I want to call it.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So what I noticed that one of the things that you is in your bio is that you post a new YouTube video every month. Is that right?
Yes, we used to. Yes, we did used to post a video every single month, and we're gonna be starting that up again very soon. We're working behind the scenes on some new videos, which I'm very excited about. It's definitely a big task to do that, but I love it. I do love making videos. I love producing them and performing in them and just putting all these creative ideas together.
So how did you? I mean, you're a young woman. What interested you in the swing era? Because I noticed a lot of, or the swing jazz era. What drew you to that?
Yeah, it was just some sort of calling when I was younger. Because funny story, my family doesn't really listen to a lot of music. And the music that my mom did listen to or my sister was rap. So they loved rap music. And from the time I was in middle school or even elementary school, I just fell in love with old Hollywood musicals. And that's how I fell in love with jazz and all of just the music from the 20s, 30s, 40s, all that beautiful music. So,
Well, I'm with you on that. Some of my favorite movies are old Broadway, Fred Astaire, Ginger
yeah,
Rogers movies.
those are Fred Astaire is my top favorite. I just adore him. He has the best autobiography too.
I mean, when Top Hat comes on, I'm sitting in front of the TV. I love that movie.
Yes, me too.
So do you now here's I mean it's a question you probably may not be able to answer, but so it's like you're drawn to it. Is that do you think it's nurture or nature? I mean, do you think it's innately in you to be drawn to that kind of music?
I really want to say yes. I'm just truly drawn to it. It's in my soul, it's in my heart. It's my family really wasn't too big on that stuff. So I was really the only one listening to it and watching those old movies. And I just, I've always loved it, just adored it. So I think it's just in me.
And then how did the Amanda Castro Band come to be? I mean, did you start off in like in choir in school and it grew
No,
up in that, or how did
no.
tell us how you came into it?
Not at all. I was a softball player. So I was a hardcore softball player that the dream of mine was to get a full ride scholarship and play softball. And that's what I did since I was 5 years old. But then I was injured. I injured my back about sophomore year in high school and I was homeschooled and I said, well, I guess I'm gonna need something else to do. So I'd always loved singing in my room to my stuffed animals and not in front of anybody, just like what little kids do, sing in the hairbrush and pretend you're dancing. And so then around 15 or 16, I started taking vocal lessons and I said, oh, I guess I'll sing. And that was how I started.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like something that you came into saying, I'm going to do this for a living. It's just something you created out of necessity.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when I was 4 years old, I remember I was a tiny little girl, 4 or 5 years old, and I remember when I would just be listening to me, I was just listening to music. I thought I'm gonna sing, but I never really thought about it. It never came up again. I just did it for fun in my room by myself with my stuffed animals, and then as I got older, it just happened, and I loved performing and singing and taking vocal lessons, and it was just natural. It just happened.
So
I'm
I'm curious. I mean, a lot of people focus on that, like going to school and college, and they go through the whole rigmarole. But
Yeah,
if it's something you sort of fell into or created yourself,
yeah,
what was how did you find your way to becoming the touring artist that you are now? I mean, I know I've seen you at conferences. I've seen you
yeah,
have agents and managers represent you. What?
yeah.
How did you fall into that?
I've always had a very business mind. My dad's an entrepreneur as well, and so were my grandparents. And I just had an idea. I want to sing on big stages. I want to play for huge events, and I want to take it as far as I can. So it just was natural again, just for me to keep trying to get to that next level and keep trying to reach that new goal that I put place for myself. Right, I put on my vision board.
So,
Yeah.
do you think Amanda Castro sitting here talking to me is this? I mean, well, I guess the better way. Do you have an Amanda Castro persona that you put on stage, or are you just you on stage? I guess when
I am so, yeah.
I have a friend who's a magician, and I
Yeah.
can sit there talk to him like just about random stuff, but as soon as he steps in front of an audience, he's a completely different person. It's like
Yeah.
wham.
Yeah, I would say that's true to a point. Who I am on stage is me, a part of me. It's a piece of me, just bigger, and just more exaggerated. So it is part of my personality. And then I have my other side of my personality where love to be at home with my doodles that are here barking. So sorry if you hear the babies barking. And that is a it's she's different, but they're still me, they're just little sides of my personality.
Well, one thing I did notice on your videos is that there's definitely a production element where there's dancers and big feather
Yeah.
fans and stuff. Did did that come from your love of the old Hollywood musicals?
Yes, I love everything glitter, feathers, follies, all the MGM musicals, everything like that. That is just, I'm so drawn to it. And I work with an incredible dance company, the LA Follies, and they're just fabulous. And Colette, the owner of it, loves all the same kind of vintage things as me. So we really just are obsessed with it. So we chat about it, and that's the vibe that we love to go with. And it's a dream to be producing and making videos similar to the old musicals that I love. Yeah.
Um, there's it's interesting because with the Studio Cabaret series is a very intimate affair because it's a small black box that we turn into a cabaret.
Yeah.
So it's a sadly I don't think that the audience will get the dancers, but I mean I think they'll definitely get a sense of who you are. Um, I'm curious when you perform, whether it's to a small audience, big audience, Disney or wherever, what is it that you as a performer want the audience to walk away with? What do you hope to that they take away?
I truly feel my life's mission, which sounds, I just want everyone to be happy. and to be joyful. I really, music to me and movies has always taken me to a place of joy. And even in my life today, I try to watch happy things and just try to keep a positive outlook on things. So I really just want everyone to have a good time and just have a smile when they're walking out of that theater or walking out of that show and just be in that moment during that performance and sing along and dance and unicorns and rainbows.
That, that's wonderful. I think it's definitely needed these days.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
what I'm curious, one of the besides presenting performers such as yourself, the Torrance Cultural Arts Foundation prides itself on mentoring and encouraging younger performers. Excuse me. I'm curious, what words of advice, as sort of a self-made artist, would you give somebody who, a teenager or young person who's just starting out?
Yes. Oh, that's a good question. I would say really have a vision and a goal and an intention and what you want to do. I think that's very important, and that's helped me get to new levels. I'm always try. I try to be very clear on where I want to go because there's so many different paths and so many different avenues, and also it's important because there's a lot of rejection in this business, and I think that I've seen a lot of people. Really let that affect them, and it's hard not to. It's very tough, but kind of just putting a block and a shield and just saying just because this person says no doesn't mean it's not going to be a yes in the future. It doesn't mean that this person's not going to say yes. There's so many different paths to go down, so just being very strong on your intention and being very headstrong too and just going for it. Don't take no for an answer. If the door doesn't open, go through a window.
That's great advice. I read a thing once, a famous author, I don't remember who at this point, but they said that they would get rejection letters when they sent out, their queries, and they would just take them and post it on their wall. And they had a huge wall of rejection letters because I think the thought process was then it didn't hurt anymore because it's like
Yeah,
you can see it's like it's just there. It's like just move on to the next one. But I think
exactly.
especially in this business, you're right because it's like
Mhm.
there'll be people who they'll say, "Hey, Chris, book me." And it's like, I can't or I won't, but then 10 years later, the opportunity arises and
Yeah,
so,
yeah, 100%. I've seen it happen so many times, and just very strong. Just believe in yourself and just keep going, and there will be a yes there.
awesome.
Yes.
Well, I certainly do appreciate it. Amanda Castro and the Amanda Castro Band, January 16th and 17th in the Nakano Theater at 7 p.m. Be sure to check out her YouTube channel because there's you can spend literally all day there and just get all the unicorns and rainbows that you need to get through the day. I
I-
certainly do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me, and I am so excited for our shows coming up. Gonna be a blast.
So let's dance, the last dance. Let's dance, the last dance. Let's dance, the last dance tonight. Last dance, it's my last chance for love. Yes, it's my last chance for romance.